Tukaandika A, number 3 ukasema hapana, number 3 is equal A. Kama sijui answer probably ni B ama C. So unajambia ni B ama C. Alafu naangalia B unasema B I sound right. So una guess unasema ni C. And then the exam comes back and C was actually right. What did you do? You guessed, right? Ulifanya tu hapo piki bonki and it actually worked. Yeah? Yeah? Any other thing that you have done that is weird? One more chance. Anyone? Let me give you one. So I asked a few people, shh, and they say I yelled at my computer and it worked. My computer had stopped working, it was not coming on, it had hung, and I yelled at it and it worked. Yeah? Another one said, me and my friend were arguing. We were arguing and it wasn't going anywhere and nimechoka. So nikamwambia, you know what? Pole basi. I was wrong. In fact, sasa ninaanza kuona point of view yako. Wewe ndio ulikuwa right. Alafu akafurahi na argument kaisha. I just decided, you know what? Let me just say I'm the one on the wrong and this argument ended. In the corporate world where we work, where you will soon join, somebody threatened to quit. So I was like, you know what? I'm done with this place. You guys don't appreciate me. I got an offer from another company. I'm quitting. I'm leaving. Hey, and then the boss went and thought about it and said, wow, this guy is really good at what he does. If he goes, it won't work out for us. So they called him back and they gave him a promotion. This guy just gets, he's just like, you know what? I'll just fake it. Like, I don't like working here. I'll threaten to leave, and he got a promotion. Yeah? So sometimes the weirdest things work. Because, let me tell you, sometimes the most unexpected strategies work. Because that is what is a strategy. How am I going to achieve this plan? I need to pass my exams. I have 2 weeks to go. The whole semester nimekuwa tu nikicheza, nimekuwa nikienda sports, nimekuwa nikienda extracurricular activities, haki sijasoma. Sasa nini nitafanya? What strategy can I do? Naeka miguu kwa maji, niamke 3 AM for 1 week. Ndio, nipite hii exam. So what is a strategy? A strategy is a plan or an action designed to achieve a long-term plan. Ndio? Right? Have you understood what a strategy is? Yes, anyone? Okay, all of you can say, what is a strategy? Louder?
A plan to achieve a long-term goal.
Good. A plan to achieve a long-term goal, right? So you can plan to exam, you can plan to pass your exam, you can plan to join the coolest crew in your school, senior. So you all want to be in the it crowd. We all want to look nice, we all want to go for fun keys, we all want to be popular, right? But sometimes it's not natural, is it? Sometimes it's hard to be popular, right? It's hard to join that cool crew. So you start thinking, what do I have to do? Do I have to dress better? Do I have to have a certain walk? Do I have to know all the latest songs? You know, like what do I do to enter that cool crew? Sometimes it just wants to get someone's attention, right? You like a boy, you see him, you want to, wow, what will I do to impress him? Sijui ni nywele yangu, natoka nini zile vitu naekanga hapa? Edges, sijui kama naeka edges, sijui kama nafanya top yangu ikuwe a bit smaller, sijui kama natembea mbele yake nipika coin, nione, sijui kama namsaidia kusoma, apite exams. Maybe he's not passing his exams well, right? Strategy, a plan to achieve a goal, right? Thank you. So whether you're in school, whether you're at home, it could also be at home. You want to go somewhere with your friends, you want to go watch a movie over the holidays, lakini unajua mamako ameshinda akisema hakuna pesa. Una kitu tu unasema, where will I get the money to go for this movie? And I know if I ask my parents and tell me hakuna pesa, ama ulienda out last weekend, hii weekend auendi ukae nyumbani. Utafanya nini? You think of a strategy, right? Or as our dear friend said, it could just be a faith thing. I'm not strong in my faith. I think of an uncle who is strong in his faith and he prays for me. Yeah? But what if the plan doesn't work? Yeah? Plan B, eh? What if plan A is work, plan B is work, plan C is work? Utafanya nini? You have tried to study harder, umesoka hizo miguu kwa basin, kameumana bado. You've been kind, you've put on the latest clothes, you've worn the latest hairstyle, but yet you're still not able to enter that eat crowd. You've prayed about finances at home. You prayed for your parents to be able to buy you the latest shoes, but it's still not working. You're even leading a Bible study. You're in the worship team. Umeimba, umecheza my instruments, umeomba, but yani, things are just not working, right? And you're like, what do I do? What do? You try harder? Huh? What are you told to do? Work hard, sindio? Read more, sindio? Show up, be obedient, right? Or do you give up? You just say, you know what, you throw your hands in the air and say, come by, bye. You keep it moving, maisha ni ngumu, next time, right? Or, you could try something crazy. Say crazy. Crazy. Like one man in the Bible did. His name was Joshua. Any Joshuas in the house? Sisi mnanga Joshua mkona Jaden, J-Pa, Jason, John, Josephat. Come on, Josephat. I have a brother-in-law called Josephat. Anyway, so we are going to read about a guy in the Bible called Joshua. Who knows who Joshua was in the Bible? Joshua? High schoolers. Joshua. Yeah? Who was Joshua? Mwalimu wa siari ya shida. Wacha nikuje hapa kwa JSS. Who was Joshua in the Bible? Anyone can shout them. He was a leader, right? And he came after Moses, right? So Moses was leading the Israelites out of Egypt, out of slavery, and Joshua was the one who took after Moses. So Joshua entered the promised land. Moses did not, for other reasons. But Joshua is the one who entered the promised land. And he had to lead over 2 million people. Say 2 million.
2 million.
How many guys are in this room? Approximately. How many are we? 300. This room. No, I can do math. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. 16 times, that is 10. So maybe 160, 200 people. How many people can lead 200? Bianca, you have a bright future. Thank you, Bianca. So, he was leading 2 million people. Can you imagine 2 million guys? That's a lot of people, eh? And he had to enter this land that God had promised him, right? And the first place he was sent was a place called Jericho. Say Jericho.
Jericho.
Jericho. And Jericho was a huge city with big walls. I can't even imagine a big city, but you guys can Google and see what Jericho looked like. It had huge walls. So we're going to read from Joshua chapter 6. Bibles, Joshua chapter 6. Bianca, nisaidie kupitisha mic, tupate watu wa kusoma. Nakwambia nani atatusomea? Ama tupate volunteers? Who reads poetry? Nani mnoma poetry? Kuna Bianca mwingine? I want volunteers. I don't want to force you. hawezi fanya. So, any volunteers in the house?
Yeah.
Wonderful. Joshua chapter 6.
Joshua chapter 6 verse 1. It says,
Got it. From verse 1 to 6. Thank you. Yeah, you can begin.
so Joshua chapter 6 verse 1 to 6. It says, Now Jericho was shut up from within and from without because of the people of Israel. None went out and none came in. And the Lord said to Joshua, See, I have given into your hand Jericho, with its king and mighty men of valor. You shall march around the city, all the men of war going around the city once. Thus shall you do for 6 days, and 7 priests shall bear 7 trumpets of ram's horns before the ark. And on the 7th day you shall march around the city 7 times, and the priests blowing the trumpets, and when they make a long blast with the ram's horn, as soon as you hear the sound of the trumpet, then all the people shall shout with a great shout, and the wall of the city will fall down flat, and the people shall go up, every man straight before him.
Thank you. So that's the story of Joshua chapter 6, right? So, thank you. What's your name? Benson. Thank you, Benson. So God gives Joshua this plan. So we all have our Bibles, right? We're all on Joshua chapter 6. So the gates of Jericho were kept shut. No one could enter or leave. The gates of Jericho were very secure. Because the Israelites were coming in and no one went out, right? But God is telling them, this is what you're going to do. To enter this huge wall, you just walk in. Walk in, you have your 7 priests carrying a trumpet, go in front of the covenant box. On the 7th day, you and your soldiers are to march around the city. When the priests blow their trumpet, then they are to sound one long note. As soon as you hear it, the city will collapse. The city walls will collapse. Ndio. Sasa nikwambie ama nikuulize, how does that plan sound? How does it sound? Who watches movies here? You watch war movies? Yes. Who has watched Game of Thrones? Maybe it's not allowed. Are you allowed to watch Game of Thrones? Who has watched a movie like those olden times where they are like a castle, guys are fighting Koju, then there are arrows being thrown, right? So you can imagine, you're being told how to enter those walls, is you just sound trumpets and march around, and the walls are supposed to come down. Wouldn't you think God is bluffing? Like, does he know what is at stake, right? So this guy was on the brink of entering the promised land, right? A land promised to their forefathers generations ago. And standing in their way was this massively fortified city called Jericho. And this is a city they are being told, mutaingia pale. So, now, it wasn't a sleepy village that people were chill, mtaingia na mshinde, and you will not have any issues. It was a military stronghold. Imagine trying to attack one of the defense forces in Kenya. Kama iko Lanet, kama iko a KDF base, with the high walls you can't even see inside. Hapo kwa entrance kuna guards, wako na magun, kuna barriers, kuna nini. Unaambiwa to blow your trumpet. So that was what Jericho was. And it stood 20 to 30 feet high and very thick. So taking Jericho would normally require a siege, rams, trained infantry, and a lot of time, right? And Joshua was a military man. In fact, he had just fought Amalekites before that. If you go and read the chapters before Joshua chapter 6, utaona walikuwa wameenda wakakatakata watu, wakaenda na military strategies. So for Jericho, they assumed it would be exactly the same way. He would have to fight, he would have to have a lot of artillery, people would have to be very fit. Ikuwe tu na plan, normal. Right? And he had the men to do it. He had everything he needed to do it. But God was giving him another plan. He's telling him, Apana, when you get to blow your trumpets, and the walls will come crashing down. So we can have someone else read for us Joshua chapter 6, verse 7 to 10. Bianca, kaa tu hapo. Tunaweza pata mtu wa hivyo. JSS representative mtu atusome Joshua chapter 6. Na msicall out jina, I just want someone to read it. Joshua chapter 6, verse 7 to 10. Yeah? can start with your name. Sorry?
Priska.
Priska. Go ahead.
Then he ordered the people to start marching around the city, with an advance guard going on ahead of the Lord's covenant box. So just as Joshua had ordered, an advance guard started out ahead of the priests who were blowing trumpets. Behind these came the priests who were carrying the covenant box, followed by a rear guard. All this time the trumpets were sounding, but Joshua had ordered the people not to shout, not to say a word, until he gave the order.
Thank you, Priska. Priska has a loud voice. Kila mtu amesikia, sio? And everybody is following on their Bibles, right? So Joshua called the priests and said to them, take the covenant box and 7 of you go in front of it carrying the trumpets. Basically, he just followed, right? But can you imagine the 2 million, or maybe not 2 million, so maybe let's say 300 army people. He's telling them, just go ahead, just carry this box and walk, right? March around the city with an advance guard going ahead of the Lord's covenant box. So imagine the people are just looking at him and thinking, what are you saying? Is this some kind of joke? Are you serious? Are you serious? Huh? I'm sure some of them were like, ai, Mose angekuwa hapa angekuwa anatuambia vitu kama hizi. Joshua. I make sense. Yeah? So the men knew how to win wars. They knew how to fight with swords, with shields. Yani they were ready. They were like, let's go conquer this city. You know, we are ready for this. And then they are being told to march. Right? But Joshua was obedient because Joshua had seen God. He had seen what God had done, even in the wilderness. So he trusted him. And he was like, God, if this is a plan you're giving us, imagine, let's just go and do it. So even the priests who probably were expecting the guys of the army to be the ones ahead, carry the ark, carry the Lord's covenant box and walk ahead. And I'm sure they're very scared. You know, the guys at the front line are the ones who wanaendanga kwanza, even in war. So I'm sure the priests were like, I thought we were going to hide behind this army. Now we are being told to go ahead of them, right? And I'm sure some of them were very discouraged. They're like, no, this is pointless. It doesn't make sense. Nothing can come out of this. We're going to be killed. We're going to be thrashed. We're going to be slaughtered. Yeah, this doesn't sound like a good plan. This plan doesn't sound okay, right? And they were wondering, is this really the strategy? Joshua, is this it? You know, Amma, there's something else coming after this. Maybe you're just telling us to carry the covenant, and then after that, now you tell us, yeah, now put your swords ready and put on your shields and put on your armor and then go in, right? But he trusted God and he had to follow. So let's have someone read for us Joshua chapter 6, the continuing verses. Let's see. Yeah, let's read from verse 14. Thank you. Nana nimeshika rada sasa. Rada inashika. That's what your name? Zita.
And the second day, they marched around the city once and returned into the camp, so they did for 6 days. On the 7th day, they rose early at the dawn of day and marched around the city in the same manner 7 times. It was only on that day that they marched around the city 7 times. And at the 7th time, when the priests had blown the trumpets, Joshua said to the people, shout, for the Lord has given you the city, and the city and all that is within it shall be devoted to the Lord for destruction. Only Rahab the harlot and all who are with her in her house shall live, because she hid the messengers that were sent. But you keep yourselves from the things devoted to destruction, lest when you have devoted them, you take any of the devoted things and make the camp of Israel a thing for destruction and bring trouble upon it. But all silver and gold and vessels of bronze and iron are sacred to the Lord. They shall go into the treasury of the Lord. So the people shouted and the trumpets were blown. As soon as the people heard the sound of the trumpet, the people raised a great shout and the wall fell down flat, so that the people went up into the city, every man straight before him, and they took the city. Then they utterly destroyed all the city, both men and women, young and old, oxen, sheep, and asses, with the edge of the sword.
Okay, thank you, Zita. Guys, what just happened? What just happened there? Right? We have read that they did what? They marched around the city 7 times, right? And on the 7th time, when the priests were about to sound the trumpet, Joshua ordered the people to shout. Can we hear a shout? I know you can do better than that. Shout! Then, au! Au high schoolers. Nini ulifanyika leo asubuhi? Ama you're too cool for school? Mkate kutosha. Nini mbaya? What happened this morning? Tell me. Share. You're in an open space. Nini mbaya? Mmefosiwa kuja hapa. Mambo lazima mkuje church leo na mko najisikia kuja church. We are here all the same. And we thank God for you. Very handsome men of God. Men of valor. So what happened? The walls came down. These huge fortified walls. Because of doing what? Going round. They were going round. Literally. Hivi tu kutembea, wanabeba hiyo Lord's Covenant, wanaenda round. Na hata wasemi kitu. Can you imagine if you went for sports? Who plays sports here? Sports people in the house? What sports do we have at Ongata Academy? Basketball. This is the basketball team. I love basketball. This is the basketball team. Hakuna watu hapa kwa timu. What is Oscar? Oscar, you're humble.
Bianca.
Where's Bianca? Bianca is cool. Which other sports do you have? Let's work with basketball. So we've gone for a basketball match, sindio? Against a school that you want to beat and you've been planning for it. Laser is close to my heart. My children go to Laser. I can see the pain in your eyes. Work harder. Sasa kama wall inaweza kuja chini, who is Laser? So unafika Laser hii, unaweza kutembea around the field. Hivi tu. Unatembea tu polepole, amuongei, amuimbi, unatembea tu. Wanaangalia, wanashangaa, hawa ni nani? What is wrong with them? Wanawacheka, wanawachongoa, wanafanya nini? They are dissing you, but you're just walking around. And then on the 7th round, you shout. You give a loud shout to the Lord. Hapo tuko hiyo field ya basketball. So who here is going to try that plan? I'm going to try plan ya kutembea around. Oscar peke yako. Nani ni captain wa basketball? Nima captains ni wengi sana. So captain wa basketball, that is your plan. Next time ukienda, walk around, right? And the walls are going to come down, right? No swords, no shields, just marching, right? And this absolutely did not make sense to the Israelites. They were like, how can we win like that? So remember my question earlier. What have you ever tried that did not work? Or worked, or you thought that would work and it actually worked? Or you thought that it would work but it didn't work, right? So you talked about basketball, you have trained the whole semester, you have become fit, you have sacrificed your studies, you have slept late, and it still doesn't work, right? Who's a prefect here? Prefects wanakaa.
Bianca is God.
Bianca, wewe ni kuja hapa. Wewe ni example wangu perfect hapa na sijui. Are the prefects the ones in red ties?
Yes.
So I can look out for the prefects in red ovyo prefects. God bless you prefects. Mwendelee hivyo hivyo. So, prefects, when you're trying to tell people to do their duties, and they are not obeying, and that time you have exams, even you have books you have to read, Mara, you're in sports, and guys are just not listening to you. What do you do? Prefects, what do you do?
Ask the head boy.
Hey, head boy! What do you do? When people are just not cooperating. Oh, I want to organize. Huh? And the few times that they don't cooperate. Oh, unamstaki? Very fast, eh? Sijataka kupe strategy ingine, hakuna waombea. Una lay hands hapo kneel down, unaombea, unakemea hiyo spirit of disobedience katika jina la Yesu. Yes. Right? However, say however, as much as we have prefects around us, and maybe they're the leaders who have been appointed by the school, because not all of us can be appointed, right? But one thing we have to remember is that we are all leaders. We are all leaders. Say leaders. We are all leaders. And not just a boring quote on, oh, you are the leaders of tomorrow, but literally you're a leader. Whether you're a leader in your house, whether you have younger siblings, you're leading them. Whether you're the leader in your class in terms of maybe you're the one who shows up early, you're the one who gets good grades, there's somebody who's looking up to you. And as long as there's someone looking up to you, you're a leader, okay? You might not think it, you may not have been appointed, but your actions and everything you do, there's somebody who's looking at you. As you're leading praise and worship in the morning on Sunday, someone is looking up to you. So when you're leading praise and worship on Sunday, and on Monday you go out and you're doing something wrong, someone is watching you. So we are all leaders in whatever respect. Even in your friends group at home, in your clique, you're a leader. You're the one who comes up with a plan. You're the one who tells guys what to do. You're the one who influences people. So you're a leader. So all of you are leaders. And someone somewhere is watching you, right? So we all have situations where we have to lead in one way or another. So for our prefects, they'll have to do those sports. They'll have to tell guys to do duties. And sometimes when they apply a strategy that just doesn't make sense, people might laugh at them. People might rebuke them. People might mock them, right? But as we have read in this story, yeah, and this is a real story. Is the Bible real? Yeah? The word of God is real. These things happened. It's not just a story to have fun. So when you read in Joshua chapter 6, the fall of Jericho, and you hear that a city that is fortified came down because people marched for 6 days. And on the 7th day, they shouted and the walls came down. That was God's competitive advantage. Say competitive advantage. Competitive advantage. To abbreviate hapa tunaambia CA. That's how you remember things. That's how you pass exams. Abbreviating things. CA. So God didn't need them to have swords. God didn't need their military strength. God didn't need battle plans and maps and this is how we're going to enter and we're going to trick them and we're going to... He just told them march. And for me, the lessons I learned from this, first and foremost, and this is a lesson for you too. And guys, if you have your notebook and your pens, it's something that you can write, eh? Because this morning, God is telling us our competitive advantage, right? You want to pass your exams? You want to enter that cool clique? You want to have favor with your parents? You want to have favor with your teachers? And you're wondering, what can I do? God is about to give you tips here. Tips through Kijo. First tip, obedience. Say obedience. Obedience. I think we all understand what obedience means. Obey your parents. Obey the Lord your God. Obey your teachers. Obey, right? And sometimes you can be like, this word obey. They always want me to obey. You know, why can't I just do what I want? You know, why? Why can't I just do what I want? Right? But we all know that sometimes when we do what we want, we don't always get the results we want, right? If the Israelites chose to do what they want, right? If Joshua decided to do what he wanted, would he have won? Would he have entered Jericho? Would he have taken over the city? Would he have gotten into the